My God, that was an emotional roller coaster ride. And my Laletta, you define acting. And that's why we all love you, because you're definitely the complete actor. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Buddies and Blockbuster. I'm your host, AJ, and we're here to review the one and only Thudarum. Couldn't go to the first day first show because it just released in the US on Friday, so it's the second day second show that I went to. And initial expectation in my mind was, okay, this is going to have a Drishyam feel, and we're going to have like a glimpse of how odd Lalettan was back in the day, homely vibe, emotional, and then there's this character arc that builds up, and that's exactly what you get from this movie. Yes, I'm a Lalettan fan, so if you think I'm biased, be my guest, but I feel even if you're not a Lalettan fan, you're gonna love this movie. I think this is something that we all were waiting for. Yes, Empuran was the big blockbuster, but to see Mohanlal get back to his roots, the way how he was back in the day, being simple, having a joyride, and then because of events, that turn of character that he brings to the table, ooh, that's just next level. I do not think any actor can bring what he brings to the table. That's just my personal opinion. And you get to see that firsthand because, yes, we have other characters that play a great role for making this movie what it is. But end to end, this is the Mohanlal Lalettan show. And I've got to give immense kudos to the director, Tharun Moorthy. You've done a great job, sir. Whether it's the sequencing, whether it's the shots of showcasing Lalettan's emotions, regardless of the sadness or how he changes, and there's this twisted character component that's happening with, I'm not going to spoil much, but those shots was so brilliant, and that flow of events. And to back it up, my boy Jakes Bijoy is the music composer. The background score that goes hand in hand during those sequences and those scenes is just perfect. So as you can see, my initial reaction is this is what a blockbuster should be. It's not this high budget, it's not this huge epic, it's more of a dimmer down version. You're more into the realistic world of what you and I go through, and you get to see one of the legendary actors deliver on this scale and magnitude, even in this age. And I just love the fact that I get to experience this as a Lalettan fan. Now, in terms of the story, I honestly can't spoil much because this is a thriller. This is an investigation kind of story, and there's so many loopholes that can't be revealed that would honestly spoil the story to you guys. So I'm just going to keep it high level based on the trailer. You've seen that it revolves around his life. He has his own taxi, which is an ambassador. Keep that in mind, right? He's in this village, has that car in this day and age with his family, close knit. It's all lovey dovey. And the first half is all about showcasing his life and the characters like Shobana. It was so good to see them together after so long. Now, granted, Shobana didn't have much of a, what do you call it, character arc or the screen time compared to Mohanlal because, again, keep in mind, it is his movie. But it was just good to see them on screen because, keep in mind, they were the golden duo back in the day. And it does showcase in glimpses, but also what I liked what the director did is in a couple of scenes when it is intense, Shobana's eye reactions kind of match what Mohanlal gives. His eyes speaks a lot more. So they did that same thing with Shobana in a couple of scenes, which was so perfect. So I like that dynamic. The only other standout that I must give credit for, even though I'll tell you this, you will hate the antagonist, you will hate the villain, but he did a splendid job because I hated him. The cruel acts that this guy does. Initially, you might think, okay, he's just a sleazeball. He's acting like a douche, but he's actually a psycho, and he's the cop. He's the antagonist. He's played by Prakash Verma. Personally, I haven't seen him in other movies, and I'm just scratching my head and thinking, why isn't he not there in other movies? Because he can do a kick-ass job as the bad guy, as the villain. He delivers end to end. Because usually you might think, okay, the hero is going to have the upper edge, but Mohanlal or his character only has the upper edge as it moves along the movie towards the end. But for the most part, the antagonist is in his own way because he's a cop. He's so powerful, and that is showcased, and that's why you kind of hate it because you're basically seeing a couple of instances on what happens in real life. Now, I need to give credit to another character, Binu Papu. He is also a cop. He's kind of the side antagonist, but you will hate him more because he's also a dick. He delivers equally just like Prakash Verma, but Prakash Verma is next level in terms of the psychotic behaviors that's showcased. But the thing that caught my attention was it goes from, oh, it's just a fun, lovey movie, it's all about family, and then, oh boy, oh god, it just turns into this emotional roller coaster ride of not knowing what's happening, and then when it's revealed, like right after the second half, it becomes super emotional. And I think the whole theater here was tearing up, and that's mainly because of Lalettan's performance. It's that when he cries, you cry with him. It's the pain that he goes through in this movie, and that's showcased. And I've seen it in a couple of interviews where the director has mentioned this, and he was also awestruck to see what he was delivering. And honestly, man, I couldn't believe that I was seeing this, because to see the acting skills displayed in this big screen, and because I already know that he's the best actor, but the fact that we're seeing this again after so long, and more than Emperor, I feel this is a great comeback for Mohanlal, and I just had a great time. The storytelling was good. The only maybe negative that I might hear from people would be is the pacing, because it's a 2 hours and 40-minute movie, and sometimes you might feel, okay, it's a bit slow, you can speed it up. But to me, as just a guy who wants to understand more about the story on both ends of the spectrum, I just had a blast from the beginning all the way to the end, because I just wanted to see what Lalettan brings to the table, because you get to see all the emotions throughout this whole movie. So I don't want to spoil much, because I want you guys to go and watch this movie, as it's a for sure must watch in the theater, because it's definitely worth it. So for the folks who have watched Thudarum, what do you guys think? Do you think Empuran was the comeback for Lalettan, or do you think this movie is much better as a comeback movie? Let me know in the comments, and as always guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and share.